Welcome back, everyone. The Augusta University National Writing Project Summer Institute opened its doors to local educators in June of 2018 at AU. It offers professional and personal development in the realm of writing and literacy. The Summer Institute is an immersive writing experience where writers explore issues in writing and in teaching writing. They learn how to improve their writing, how writers think, and how to better teach writing. Dr. Rebecca Harper is responsible for bringing the National Writing Project to Augusta University. She's a full professor of literacy at the school, and she's also written several books. Dr. Harper, thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me, Jenny.
It is a pleasure. We have met outside of the studio, and just in knowing you briefly, I just thought, oh, we've just got to get you on the show and talk about this and let people take in the whirlwind that you are. I said in our tease that you are a whirlwind of color and texture and ideas and information, and you are. You have so much going on. You are dynamic, you are smart, you have 3 busy kids. How do you get it all? How did you wind up at AU, and how do you make it all work?
Well, honestly, it was an accident that I ended up at AU. I had been teaching in Aiken County, and I left when I had a baby, my first baby, and I had been home about 2 years, and I needed to do something. And so I applied for an adjunct position. And when I went in, they offered me a full-time temporary position because my master's at the time was in ed tech, and they needed somebody for an educational technology class. So I took that job thinking I would be there for 6 months, and this is my 19th year.
Yeah, wow.
So yeah. But it was just, sometimes I think that you're in the place that you're supposed to be at that time, and sometimes you don't know that that's where you are supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it just works out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so your family, you just raised your family within this whole world that is yours.
Yes.
At AU.
I have 2 babies since I've been there.
Yeah.
And I would bring Macy Bell when she was, an infant. She would come and sleep on the floor in my office, and I took her out to schools, and then my son Ben, the same thing. So they've only really known this mom who's a literacy person.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've grown up at AU themselves.
Yep, absolutely. I certainly get that because I have had ones that grew up here at the TV studio as well. So we showed a little video coming into the break before this segment. You were explaining to an audience at the Clinton Library, actually. It was a University of Arkansas event. And you were explaining the correlation between a sports podcast maybe and writing an essay, and how the basics are similar, but formats may be a little different, and it may be a little more fun one way than the other.
Correct.
So how do you make students feel engaged like that?
I think I look for what are they already doing. I think one of the things that we see with students is that they don't feel like what we're teaching them in school is connected to their personal lives, and especially writing.
Yeah.
But writing is one of those things that I can sell very easily. It's one of these skills that you really have to use in whatever you do, whether you're writing a list or whether you're writing a resume or whatever. So it's an easy to sell skill that you can say, this is how you're going to use it. But what happens is a lot of students don't feel confident. They don't feel like they know how to do this in the first place. They feel like writers are people who've written books and published a bunch of stuff, and really everybody's a writer. So I'm always looking for what are young people doing, what are grown people doing for that matter, in their personal lives that I can use as spendable capital in the classroom. And so when I was a middle grades teacher, I had a lot of students who were sports fans. And so I started looking at ESPN for inspiration. And pardon the interruption, one of the shows that is on their lineup became the springboard for argumentative writing, because really they're doing the same thing that I'm asking my students to do. They're just doing an oral argument versus a written one that I'm going to connect to my standards. So I found that when I start with things like that, that brings that real world back. Like, why do I need to know how to do this? But also I already know how to do this. So because they now see there's some success, it's a whole lot easier for me to teach something that is dense and difficult, and with difficult content, because they already feel like, oh, I can do this.
I can do it.
Right.
So you're really building their confidence with that. Your summer writing events are great opportunities for local teachers, and I want to read you something. This is from the Dean of Education and what they wrote about Dr. Harper. It says, Dr. Harper is a charismatic and enthusiastic professor who is well respected in her field. The creative and innovative strategies she shares are well received by the participants and their students. What a great compliment to you.
Yeah, it was a great compliment. I think that, writing project changed my teaching life. So when I think about anything that's happened to me from an academic or professional perspective, it started in the summer of 2005 when I was in a writing project at the University of South Carolina. And I took I did that project because I was in a master's program at the time, and it was free tuition. It was a free course credit, but it changed everything about how I looked at my students, how I looked at instruction, how I taught writing. And so I can trace everything back to that experience. And when you talk to people who come through our writing project, you'll hear some of those similar stories, because you build this community of teachers in the area, but you build it through this vehicle of writing. And so you come together for a couple of weeks in the summer, you spend time with 15, 16 other teachers, and you learn what it's like to be a writer, and then go back out and do some of those same things that we do at our Summer Institute with your students. The people who I've come across in Writing Project are people, they are my people, they're family. So I have people in Writing Project I've known for 20 years that, their children I call my nephew and niece, so it's a different kind of experience.
Right.
It's still professional development, but it's like professional development with a heart, if that makes sense.
One of the things that Writing Project does for our community is bring in terrific talent to our area, and one of the most recent ones that comes to mind is Pulitzer Prize winner Rick Bragg. So that is what you're really excited about, the events that are coming up.
Absolutely. So, Rick Bragg coming to campus was something that I just said, hey, do you think you want to come to Augusta? And, I don't mind getting a no. I don't mind an author telling me no, and I'll just, try to figure out how to get them to say yes. And he said, sure. Just don't have it when there's a football game. And so that was our biggest event. We had over 350 people in attendance. And, we've had lots of other, authors come, and we just had an event at the Book Tavern with Dr. Karen Head, who is the Waffle House Poet Laureate. She did a reading, and that was absolutely beautiful. And then in December the 13th, we're going to have Noir at the Bar at Le Chat Noir downtown. So we have several Southern authors who are going to come and do readings there. So I think it's just an opportunity for people in the community to hear from writers and also to network and then talk about their own writing. Because what I've found is that when people come to things like that, they'll turn around and say, well, I'm writing this short story, or I'm writing this piece, or I've always wanted to write. And so then now you have expanded this community beyond teachers.
Very much,
right.
Very much so. And like you say, writing is something that we all do no matter what our field is. We are all writers. Dr. Rebecca Harper, awesome having you with us here today. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Well,
and if you want to know more about this and you want to contact AU or Dr. Harper, here's the information. You can contact Rebecca Harper at rharper7@augusta.edu, or check out the website at the address you see there on your screen. She's meeting people where they are without judgment, just love. Meet our latest Giving Your Best winner and see what Open Arms Outreach is all about after the break.